How you doing? I'm Glenn with V Power Equipment, and we are here today to introduce our new 3-inch full trash pump. This is an honest to goodness full trash pump. It is a commercial grade pump. It'll handle very large debris up to almost 3/4 of an inch. I believe it's just shy of 3/4 of an inch. Like I say, it is basically a commercial pump. This thing is pretty much designed to run all day long if it needs to. It is really built. I'm going to take this camera and I'm going to bring it up a little closer, and I'm going to show you basically what comes with it for starters. So the kit comes with obviously the pump. Inside there is the volute, which we'll take out and show you in just a minute. Comes with the 2 couplings. Comes with a couple of O-rings that go with the couplings. Comes with some of the most common bolts. We can't guarantee we have the bolts for all the engines because there were a lot of different sizes out there, but it comes with the most common bolts. Comes with the wear seal for the back of the impeller, the O-ring that will go in between these 2 housings, and the strainer. So that is going to be what comes with the kit. I'm going to go over some specs of what this pump is capable of, and then we'll open it up. I'll show you the insides of it, and then at the end we'll basically show how it installs. It actually installs quite easily. So give me a second here and we will set up and we'll take a look at this other stuff. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the specs on this. So obviously it has a 3-inch inlet and a 3-inch outlet. Its maximum output is 23,500 gallons per hour, so it can put out some serious water. It can push water up to 90 feet, and it can suck water up to 24 feet. Its maximum debris, as I said, was almost 3/4 of an inch, just shy. It's 11/16, so it can handle debris up to 11/16. It has the volute in the impeller in this thing is amazing. The impeller is kind of sold separately, and I'll explain that in just a second. The whole pump together with the volute and all weighs right around 70 pounds, 69 pounds, and basically we got the pickup strainer, we did that, we got the hose couplers. So this is a pump alone, so you need to basically match this to an engine. Now you may want to, if you have an engine around that's got the right specs, then it would make sense possibly to buy this pump and put it on that engine. Maybe you have a unit that already has this pump on it. There's a couple of companies that use this type of pump. I believe Honda uses it, North Star uses it also. So if you're just replacing one of them pumps, then that's fine. Or if you're using your own engine, that's okay too. Now the thing we got to be careful of on all these cases, even with the Hondas and the Predators and whatnot, is water pumps can have several different types of shafts on their engines. And a lot of these companies, and I'm pretty sure Predator one, and I'm pretty sure Honda also does it, they will literally make the same pump, but all they'll change is the impeller because the engines they're using at that time will have a different shaft. So we are basically offering 2 types of impellers for this pump right now. So we have this one here is for a 1-inch shaft. So if you've got an engine with a shaft that measures 1 inch and it has a keyway, and you want to buy the impeller, then when you order the pump, the option, you have to pick an option of an impeller. You have to either pick one of the 2 that we offer right now, and maybe there'll be more down the road, or you can order it with no impeller, because it is also possible that you could have an impeller design that we don't even have. And so if you're just adding this to an engine, then obviously you don't want to do that. If you had a 3/4 inch shaft, say, engine, you don't even want to order this pump because we don't offer an impeller for that. But if maybe you have a Honda out there that you're replacing this pump, and it has a 3/4 inch shaft, and your old impeller is good, then you also have the option of not buying the impeller. It brings the price down a bit, and you could reuse your old impeller. So right now we're offering 2 styles. We're offering the 1-inch keyway shaft, and we're offering the 3/4 inch threaded shaft. So that is the only 2 styles we have now. So before you even want to order this, you want to check whatever it is you're working on. If it's an engine or a pump you're replacing, you want to check that shaft and make sure that this is going to work with that. Now, one other thing you want to check here, and I'll show it to you right now, we're actually going to, for today's purposes, we're going to show this on a Viking engine, and that's what we're going to use to mount it to. So your bolt pattern in here, right here, is where it bolts to. Now, I know for a fact there are some companies out there that use different bolt patterns. They're fairly standard, but in this industry, nothing standard. So if you measure across your bolts, you're basically looking at, I believe, 3.5 inches, and I'm pretty sure it's all squared up. Yeah, it is. So you need these center bolts, these 4 center bolts in the middle, to be at 3.5 inches apart. If that isn't the case, if you're off, if it's, anything other than basically 3.5 inches, and I don't think you'd find it being off by, by a 1/16 of an inch. I think you'd be looking at maybe, there might be something out there with 3.25 inch or maybe, 4 inch. It would be off more than a 1/16 of an inch. So you're not trying to get that close. But if you're off from that, then you can't use this pump. You can't bolt it up, so it won't work. So these are the things we're looking for right off the bat. We want to make sure that we have an impeller that matches it. Like I say, when you order the pump, it's going to make you choose basically either one of the 2 impellers or no impeller. And you want to check and make sure your bolt spacing here is right. I think there's also, and let me just check a spec here to make sure if I'm right about this. I guess I don't have it. There's a thing they call bolt circle. I thought I had it listed here, but I don't. But anyways, so the 3.5 inches is what we're looking for. So these are things we want to check. And once we've decided all that works, then if you've got all that specs, this is the pump for you. Now, if you have an engine, that you already have, and you want to bolt this up, I mean, it's worth doing. These pumps, when you buy these pumps all together, they're not inexpensive. They're actually quite expensive. I believe a lot of these companies, depending on which one it is, but they can be up to like $1,500 for an engine and a pump together. So if you've got an engine and you can buy a pump, I don't really want to mention the price right now because I don't like to mention prices on videos because prices fluctuate. But it's considerably less than $1,500, a lot less than $1,500. So it'd be worth doing. And also, if you should have a pump that you spent good money on, and I don't know, maybe water got in it, froze, busted the pump off or something like that, and you need to do it, it's worth replacing the pump rather than just throwing the whole thing away because there's considerable savings in that. So that's basically with that. I am going to move the camera back a little bit, and we're going to open this up, and I want to show you how the volute and everything inside of this thing is. So opening this thing is quite easy. We don't need that one right now. So basically you've got quick release bolts here, so you just unback them, they swing out of the way. Take all 4 of them. This is in case you get something jammed in there and you're out in the field and you need to get this thing going. You don't need to be working too hard out there. You want to be able to get at it, get it working again. And then we just pull the front of it off. Now the volute comes attached to the front of it. It's heavy. This thing has some serious weight to it. This is the volute for this thing. So it is pretty solid cast steel. I mean, this thing is definitely made to last. And even if you look at the aluminum housing, it's not a thin aluminum like you see on especially like the other trash pump I was talking about, the 6T bolts. That's generally a pretty thin aluminum. This is a beast. This thing is built solid, and the volute is built the same way. The impeller, as you can see, is quite massive. It's designed, as I said, to basically run all day, and if it's got to chew up some debris, it doesn't have any problem doing it. Also, you'll notice that the way the impeller sits into the volute, it kind of creates a seal so that basically any debris that comes in there is staying within the impeller and the volute stage and just getting chewed up and basically spit back out. Okay, so that basically talks about that. So now I'm going to show you how this thing installs. So one of the things that you'll see that it came with is this seal. Not seal, actually. This is a wear plate. So because we don't know which impeller you're going to choose, but it doesn't matter. Either impeller uses the same wear seal. So the first thing you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take the impeller. You're going to want to take the seal out of the bag. It's just got a little rubber ring on it, and it basically just kind of presses right into the back of the impeller. Kind of like that. Well, I'm going to do it a little different. I'm going to pop the rubber thing in, and then we'll pop the seal in. And it goes pretty much like that. So once we get that seal pressed in, might not hurt to put a little lubrication on that, might make it a little easier. I don't have any right here, so I'm just going to kind of push it in. So once we get that seal pressed in, then that's good. The impeller's good to go. So the other part of this is, as I said, it's pretty straightforward. We're going to move this over so we can see the engine. Let me just adjust the camera a little bit. Okay, so you'll notice I got the engine set up. I've just put it up on these little pads here. This pump is actually, it sits down a little bit lower than the engine. So whatever you're mounting it to, you'll have to also consider that. So I've got the engine set up. So we're basically just going to slide this housing into place. We're going to take the bolts. They have these washers. We're going to put these washers on it. Going to look in the back here and get them lined up. Get these all started. And we got 4 of them. Tighten each one of them up. Kind of go around a little bit. Don't sock each one right up. Go around. Get them all a little bit tighter. And there we go. Okay, so you also get a keyway. That's here, that comes with the kit. So if you have a keyway on the engine, you're going to need to take it off, because what happens is the keyways that are sitting in there, they won't pass the wear plate that we put in there. So this is a smaller keyway so that we can reach in and put this inside of the wear plate into the slot in the impeller. Now, it also helps to rotate this engine. I'm going to do that right now to get that keyway facing to the bottom. So we got it at the bottom. Otherwise, every time you try to put this in, the keyway wants to fall out. So now we got the keyway on the engine facing the bottom. We got it in the impeller at the bottom. We're just going to slide this in, get it lined up, and bolt it in. You can feel that the impeller is pushing against the spring. That's the mechanical seal. That's how all these water pumps seal, and it's behind the impeller. This one's no different. I'm going to put that bolt in. We're going to change this to this. Now the impeller's in place. Now we're going to take the O-ring. I'm going to move the camera over here now. So we're going to take the O-ring now, and we're going to put it on the outside of the front housing. Okay, so we got the O-ring fell out. Okay, so now we got it. Okay, so now I'm going to aim this back at the engine. Basically, at this point, you can only see the back housing. The water pump's as big as the engine, so it kind of hides the engine. And then we're going to put this thing over here and slide it up into place. Get it stand up right first. The hardest part about this is that this thing is so heavy. There we go. Okay, so we get it in. We want to make sure our O-ring is seated, which it is. I'm going to pivot this around. Or we can use these swing bolts. Take them out. kind of use them to help seat it the rest of the way because it isn't totally seated yet. But why struggle with it when we can let the bolts do the work? Just kind of clock them in. Again, not doing it all at once. Kind of doing each bolt. Working your way around it. And that is it. That is the install on this. So, as I said, it's the install of it is really quite straightforward. And so basically, there we have a 3-inch water pump mounted to a 16-horse Viking engine. That thing would pump some serious water. And that's pretty much all there is to it. We thank you very much for watching. If you're interested in this, we also have some other pumps. We do have the other 3-inch full trash pump. It's basically same way. It's going to be sold with the 2 different impellers. I don't think they have it listed that way yet, but it's going to be. We have a variety of other pumps, smaller pumps. We have some 2-inch pumps. We have a pulley-driven pump. We have a pressure pump. I also do know right now, right now we're in December of 23. I do know already that in the works coming up in probably right around March of 24, they're going to introduce a couple more commercial pumps. There's going to be a 3-inch pulley-driven pump, and it's going to be a 6-inch pulley-driven pump. So these are things that are coming down the pike. So once again, if you're interested in buying it, vpowerequipment.com. Again, vpowerequipment.com is the place to go. And we thank you very much and have a wonderful day.